Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
It's always good to hear. I'm using that word hear. I'm very careful about getting my ears, taking the wax out. I go to a doctor to do that because I know if you can't hear, you're missing out on life. But there are people that even if you take the wax out of their ear, they still can't hear well enough. And that happens mostly with age, but now with all the loud music that people have heard over the years, it can happen. So you need to get tested. And I know you think that's probably funny, why I don't want to get tested. Just turn everything up louder. Well, it may be louder, but it's not going to necessarily be clear. So I have a real expert, Steve REINSHUTTLE. Is that right? Did I do that right?
REINSHUTTLE.
REINSHUTTLE, sorry.
We'll get it one of these times.
Okay, right. Steve REINSHUTTLE, who is the CEO of America's Best Hearing. That's a great name because we want you to get the best hearing. So, Steve, tell us what happens when someone goes to America's Best Hearing to get their hearing checked.
Okay, well, they've done surveys that the biggest problem is trying to what do you do once you have a hearing loss? Where do you go? What do you do? So when you come into America's Best, we want to treat you as our guest. So we will greet you friendly with coffee and cookies and get your paperwork filled out, make you feel at home, make it feel comfortable and pleasant for you. We want hearing aids buying to be fun, not traumatic. So once we get your paperwork, and we will check your insurance and see if your insurance covers the hearing aids, if you have a hearing aid benefit for you. And then we'll take you back, and we want to learn about your lifestyle. We want to learn, are you very social? Are you out in restaurants more? Do you have bunco groups? Do you have a book club? Or do you just stay at home and watch TV? So we want to find out what is it that you need to hear. You know, so we do a full examination and an evaluation to find out what kind of hearing aid that you need. At that point, we will check for wax. That's one of the first things we do. We have a video otoscope that we can show you the inside of your ear canal and show you if it's full of wax, if it's red, do you have an infection. We check for any medical issues there. And if everything's clear, then we will put you in a hearing booth, and we will put different tones in. One thing that we do at America's Best Hearing is we supply a full test. We will give you an air conduction test, which is hearing with tones through your outer ear, middle ear, and inner ear. And then we will do a bone test, which you can actually hear sounds through your mastoid bone. So we will put an oscillator on your mastoid bone and test to see if that hearing is in the middle ear, or hearing loss is in the middle ear, or just in the cochlea. So by going through the bone, we're able to just test the cochlea. Now, I'm talking, 3 different types of ears here, which is confusing, but most loss happens in the cochlea, which is a little snail-shaped, about the size of a button on a man's shirt, and it has 30,000 little nerve endings in there. And what happens with hearing loss is those nerve endings get damaged due to age, loud noise, hereditary, drugs we've taken, things like that. So the different tones that we put in are actually different frequencies or different sounds or pitches that the human voice hears. And then we will start at 20 or 30 decibels, and we'll gradually go up until you hear it. So the loud, we try to make each sound louder, and then we'll go on to the next pitch. So we will give you a full test of hearing different sounds, okay? I'm giving you a very long answer.
No, I'm loving this. Wait, I have a few questions. No, this is what I want you to do, because my next question is, why are people afraid to have a hearing test?
Well, nobody wants to get old, right, Anita? So they're afraid of the truth. I hear what I want to hear. Other people mumble. I just turn the TV up a little bit. I don't go anywhere that I need to hear. But they don't understand that if somebody's breaking in your house, you need to hear that. If someone's at your door, you need to hear that. What happens with hearing loss is we start to withdraw from society. And It actually causes depression. So they don't go out with the girls to lunch anymore. Why? Because they can't hear and the girls make fun of them. Or, so, it causes depression. You just withdraw. The grandkids don't want to talk to grandma and grandpa anymore because it's too hard to talk to them. But so they go through denial. To answer your question, people only 25% of people with hearing loss actually treat it and get hearing aids, which is a very, very bad, poor number.
Yes, sad state of affairs. I can't believe that. So is it that, people have no problem going to a vision store and ophthalmologist and getting their eyes taken care of, but they think a little bit differently about going to a hearing center because years ago they were embarrassed because the hearing aids were very large, but today there are a lot of people I know that I don't even know they're wearing hearing aids.
Correct. We have them that go deep inside the ear canal. We have the ones that go behind your ear that you can't see that have a very thin wire. We don't use the big molds anymore unless it's just a totally profound loss. They're very discreet. I tell the joke about the person who we sold hearing aids to and went home, came back for his first appointment. I asked him, how did your family like your hearing aids? And he said, I didn't tell him, but I changed my will 3 times. So,
now that's a funny one.
Yeah, you got to be careful if somebody's talking about behind your back, which does happen. They go, Grandpa can't hear anyway. So then they go home and Grandpa can hear. But, they are discreet. They are pretty much invisible, and there's really no reason not to get help because they'll get oxygen tanks, they'll get walkers, they'll get glasses, but they don't want hearing aids because hearing aids make them old. And to me, saying, what'd you say, makes you a lot older and a lot less sociable than wearing hearing aid.
Yes. Now, let me just follow through with this because something you said, you actually will send someone home with a hearing aid and they haven't purchased it?
Well, we do a trial. We also have a 30-day trial. The state of Florida requires that we give a 30-day trial period that they can get their money back on. So I wish we could get everybody out on a trial, but we do an occasional trial on the weekend if they'd like. That's not a problem. And because if they want to think about it, it doesn't make sense to go home and think about it without the hearing aid in their ears. So let's see how it changes your life. Go home and see what your children say about it. Does your neighbor come over and say, I can't hear the TV anymore? I've been watching the TV through your window. So, we wanted to see how does it affect your life, and you can't do that unless it is in your ear trying it.
Yeah, that's true. So I was waiting for the day when hearing aids were red, pink, yellow, and blue.
Well, we have red and blue.
You do?
We have children's colors. Oh, yeah. So red is always right and blue is left. That's how we tell the difference between the ears when we're testing. Everything's color-coded on an international scale. But we also have children's aids. We have brown, silver, beige. I've seen pink ones, blue ones. They have all kinds of different colors of hearing aids. So you can match your hair. I've seen ladies match their hair, match their outfit, match their shoes. It's kind of funny.
Well, the reason I'm even laughing about it, I have triplet grandchildren, and they're 13, and they have now braces, and they're all colored. They purposely... I couldn't believe that. I mean, usually you want to hide it, but they have all different colored braces.
Not anymore. It's a different world.
So let's get into the serious part of what you were saying about the hearing. People don't even realize they don't hear so well because it's so gradual. All of a sudden, you don't wake up one day, right? And so I noticed you turn on the volume a little bit louder, and then people say it's too loud, but then you can't hear it properly. And the dangerous part is that there are things that are happening around you, and if you don't hear them, you could really be in trouble. So, and not so much someone coming in to your house, but there are simple things. For instance, when you have a stove and you're cooking something, if you don't hear the water bubbling, and you have to have good hearing for that, you could have a fire.
You can have a lot of things. You can't hear, the smoke detector. You can, the blinker in your car. I see a lot of people driving around with the blinker still on.
Right.
We've fit people with hearing aids, and they're like, I didn't know my blinker made noise.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't.
Yeah. So, and on the sad part, I've had people riding a bike that got hit because they didn't hear the car coming.
Yeah.
If you've ever, for an example of somebody with good hearing, if you ever tried to ride a bike or go running with a pair of headphones on and you listen to music and all of a sudden somebody's right on top of you, imagine how scary that is. Well, imagine just living your whole life like that. You can't hear people coming up behind you. You can't hear a car coming. It just causes a lot of dangerous situations.
So let me ask, though, something I had heard. If you don't take care of your hearing and it gets progressively worse, is it not harder then to start to hear better? Isn't it something you should take care of quickly and not wait?
Oh, absolutely. And people wait 7 to 10 years before they correct their hearing or come in to see a hearing care professional. And what happens is your brain actually forgets how to understand words. It's called auditory deprivation. And if they don't hear, so when we do that test, most of the time we have a high frequency loss because the high frequencies are the closest to the opening. So we don't understand consonant sounds, which is why people say, I hear, but I don't understand. But that's why, so what happens is your brain gets lazy and forgets it, and it really doesn't come back. So what we do, another part of the test that we do after we do the tones is we'll do a speech and word recognition test. And that really tells us how bad your hearing loss is. We can make things louder. We can turn up the volume of these hearing aids so, you could hear everything, every little, cricket or pin drop. But if your brain won't understand it, then we really have a tough job of rehabbing the brain and getting you back into understanding and waking your brain up off that couch because it's just been sitting there for a while.
Well, I'd love to talk to someone like you who you're really not a physician, but you're so enthusiastic about getting into this business. I mean, I just love it. And I know your other two partners, Steve and Steve, but it's wonderful to have someone like you, so smart, and be able to talk so articulately about this. Let me just give everybody a way. You'll want to, they have quite a few centers, so you're going to want to get on the website, and it's americasbesthearing.com. americasbesthearing.com. And be sure to come to the expo that's coming up on July the 23rd because you're going to meet them, and you're going to, I know you can't do a hearing test there because it's too noisy, but you'll get to meet them and you'll see why we're so happy that they've joined us to help people. It is one of the most important things an older adult can attend to. Forget, you worry about your car, you worry about all these other things. It's your hearing you better worry about.
Correct. And we have costs to fit all budgets. We have financing available for everyone. So we can get the payment where you need it to be. We have used hearing aids if you need it. We can find something, but I enjoy this job so much because I see people come in and they leave crying because they just they didn't realize how much they didn't hear. They're like, oh my gosh, I can hear my chair squeak. I can hear you drop the pen. And they leave so happy, and they've fought it for so long, and it's so great to help people change their lives. We've saved marriages, because
Absolutely.
the wife says, hey, you get hearing aids or I'm leaving. And they're serious.
That's very funny. Get hearing aids or I'm leaving, right?
We help people every day hear better, and it's just a life-changing event. People don't understand that. But it's great. It makes us feel great.
I was thinking, though, something that's really important, and it is the grandchildren who are very disappointed when they want to talk to their grandparents, and their grandparents have this funny look on their face because they're not understanding, and they think that the kids don't know what they're saying. No, it's you don't understand what you're hearing, and you're losing the most wonderful part of your grandchildren because every little sound, everything they do is lovely.
Right. And you want to interact with them. That's what makes life special with the grandkids. It gives us hope and makes us feel young just being around them.
Right. And if you've ever seen people who can't hear and their friends, then they stop talking to them. They really do, and they shake their head. It's like, oh, forget it. He doesn't understand anything. Some of them mistake this for Alzheimer's, and it's not really that. I mean, they're not hearing the words, so of course they're going to respond differently.
Yeah, I had a lady in a nursing home who was actually an Auschwitz survivor, and they thought she had Alzheimer's, and we tested her for hearing, and we put hearing aids on her, and she became one of the most liveliest people in the nursing home. Just unbelievable. And, hearing aids will help hold off dementia and Alzheimer's. It's a John Hopkins study that you can go online and read about, stimulating the brain, and, it won't prevent it, but it will help hold that off. Anything you can do to stimulate the brain will definitely hold off Alzheimer's and dementia. So
yeah, we're finding that very much so. And so when someone does come in, they make an appointment, of course. This is really important. So when you call the americasbesthearing.com, we'll go on to the website, because then you'll find the center you want to go to. You really do need an appointment. And as Steve said, you will need a hearing aid.
And the hearing test is free. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I want to get that out. That the
yes,
hearing
it
test
is free.
There's no cost to get tested.
Right.
Correct.
But very important that Steve did say that it depends. If you're a person who just likes to sit home and watch TV, or you're a person that's still working and you need the very best hearing aid for all these intricate things, they'll know that because they test you for it. So anyway, Steve, we've run out of time, but I definitely look forward to seeing your booth at the expo, and thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thanks, Anita. Thank you for inviting us, and it's great talking to you again.
I'll be back. All right. Thank you, Steve. Bye.
Bye-bye.